My husband Ken and I built our family home at the same time when we got married to each other. Our family home is the biggest purchase I ever had in my life. We both decided to cherish our family home together. But I already threw away all of your stuff, okay? I never thought that our family home would be taken away like this. My husband and I got married 3 years ago. We built our own family home when we got married and have been steadily paying for the mortgage. That new smell once you get into the newly built house, and the kind face of my sweet husband. The spacious living room with lots of morning sunlight pouring in through the large windows was what Ken and I dreamed to have one day. Since we were going to build our own house, my husband listened to my opinions as much as possible. Among them, I was particular about the built-in kitchen and the size and the directions of the windows. On Sundays, around 2 p.m., this window lets in just the right amount of sunlight into the room. And with that sunlight, my husband and I lay down and relaxed around the room and even take naps. And once I brew the coffee with these delicious coffee beans, the room is filled with the good aroma of the coffee. This is what I would call my moment of happiness. But to be realistic, it truly costed us a lot to get our blissful moments with our family home. I am just really glad that I have been working properly and consistently. When we were qualified for the mortgage, I patted myself on the back for working hard this whole time. And my husband felt the same, of course. But within a month since our family home was completed, I received a call from my mother-in-law, Pam, who had been living apart from us. "You and Ken built a family home, is that right? Well, now that it's completed, I'd like for you to let me live with you both in that house. If I continue to live in this rundown house all by myself, I will get sick." Pam is single, and she's living on her own on welfare. Pam and I were not that close to each other, as I just only went to greet her when I was about to marry Ken. To be honest, it is really difficult for me to have Pam suddenly living with us as a newly wedded couple in our own home.
I know you, Anna, and I can see how my mother living with us would be a huge burden to you. So, I'll tell my mother that we can't live with her and refuse. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Thankfully, my husband is a man who takes my feelings into consideration and really understands me. So then, my husband had refused Pam about her idea on living with us. And 2 years later, Ken and I had our first baby. I guess Pam thought that it was a good opportunity for her, so she suggested the idea to live with us again. Isn't it hard to take care of the baby and do the house chores all by yourself? If I get to live with you all, I will definitely help you taking care with the baby and the house chores. And besides, it's a great opportunity, so please let me live with you all. It's true that taking care of the baby and doing all the house chores requires hard work, and I would actually appreciate her if Pam would help us out. Plus, I plan to go back to work eventually, and so it would be better to have more people taking care of the baby.
Well, what do you think? I think it might be a good idea to have someone help us out at least.
Well, yes. If Pam keeps her word and helps us properly, then... Pam was really delighted when I agreed for her to move in with us on the condition that she would help me with the baby and house chores. Once we began living together, Pam took it very seriously and helped out with the baby and the house chores all on her own. Okay, well, I'll do the laundry and fold the clothes, okay? Thank you. While you're gone for the groceries, I'll look after the baby, okay? Aw, who's a good boy? You are a good boy. Thank you very much. I honestly didn't expect Pam to help me like this. I even felt a little guilty that I underestimated her. She has been really helpful around the house, and I should be really grateful of her. Or so I thought. Pam taking it seriously and helping around the house and taking care of the baby only lasted for about a week. After that, she would just slack off and relax around once my husband was gone, or doesn't even take care of my son even though I asked her to look after him. This happened a lot, and I'm starting to not trust Pam more and more. Pam hasn't been taking the house chores seriously lately, and I can't even ask her to take care of our son, let alone do the housework, if she's being like that.
I see. All right. I'll talk to my mother about it.
My husband tried to warn her several times, but she wouldn't really listen to him. You know, I'm doing my best too. Anna is just being too strict here.
But you need to help us out properly. That's why we're living together in the first place.
What? Are you trying to kick me out? Ugh, please, don't be so cold about it. Ugh, please, don't kick me out because of this. Whenever Ken warned her, she either blamed me or cried to make him feel sorry for her. And so like that, Pam persistently continued to stay at our house. Pam, who no longer helps me raise and take care of our son properly, has also become annoyed with him gradually. Oh, he's crying again. He's so loud. There. Hurry up and make him stop crying already. Not only does she not take care of our son, but I feel nothing but anxiety when she is around him. Honey, I'm really afraid to let our son get close to Pam like this. I really want her to leave our home as soon as possible.
All right, I understand. I'll get my mother a new place to live on her own so that I can convince her.
My husband prepared to rent an apartment so that Pam would easily leave our home. Before I knew it, our living room was full of Pam's stuff. I have to hold our son all the time because it could be really dangerous if he bumps into Pam's stuff or puts them into his mouth. We have already warned Pam enough, but she still won't change her attitude. We will definitely persuade her to leave our home. When I was thinking that, oh no, he's gone. Why? Our son was missing from his room, where he was supposed to be sleeping in. I looked around in a panic and found Pam taking our son outside. What are you doing? How dare you take our son out without our permission? I just wanted to show off my grandchild a little. Do you have any clue how worried I was? If I took him out like this, people will try to maybe share us with something, you know? So you shouldn't worry that much. And you're being too loud shouting like that to me. I just couldn't believe that Pam would take our son out without saying anything to me. And it didn't even look like Pam was guilty about it at all, but instead, she got angry. Hearing the story, my husband got also furious. So, at once, we had Pam leave our home without question. 1 year has passed since then. Our son had turned 1 year old and gradually began to walk little by little. Then suddenly, my husband was involved in an accident on his way home from work one day and, unfortunately, passed away. I was at a loss of words, having lost my husband so suddenly. Why did he have to leave us? What am I going to do with my son who's still small? Even at Ken's funeral, I was so sad that I could not stop crying. Then Pam began to talk to me. Hello, long time no see, Anna. I never thought that we'd see each other again like this. Oh, Pam. For Pam, her own son had passed away. The grief of a mother who has lost her son must be very deep. I should not be the only one crying for Ken like this. I must be strong for him. I answered Pam, trying desperately to hold back my tears. It was just really so sudden. Indeed. So, since the family house belongs to my son, I'm supposed to get it, right? Huh? Then, could you leave the furnitures too? Excuse me? What is she even saying? I thought we were both grieving the loss of our beloved, but then she started talking about the house, the furnitures, and other things that didn't make sense to me at all. I was just so confused by Pam's words. And even if she said that she would take the house, it costed about $500,000 to build it. And there's still the mortgage, which needs to be paid. Even if that's true, what about the mortgage? Oh, well, you are going to pay that, right? Excuse me? What in the world is she saying? I can't believe that Pam would even bring it up at Ken's funeral in the first place. I'm not sure that I want to talk about that right now. We're at Ken's funeral after all. But it's very important that we talk about this anyways. But now's not a good time to... Anyways, I will get the house, right? How could she be so obnoxious? Pam seems to want to get a clear confirmation from me that I would give her our house, but I was being so sad about Ken, and I was getting so fed up of Pam being like this. That's it. Enough, Pam. We are at Ken's funeral. If you continue to be like this at the funeral, please leave immediately. When I said that strongly, Pam became silent and left my side. What was she really thinking when her own son had passed away? Sometime later, after all the funeral, cremation, and such were over, I was able to calm down for the time being. I can't stay sad forever. I have to do my best and work hard to make a good living for my son. So, I left my child at daycare center and returned to work. My days were very hectic with work, house chores, and taking care of my son. Then one day, when I returned home after picking up my son, I saw all of my belongings being left on the garbage dumpster near the entrance. What is the meaning of this? My clothes, desk, and work things were all piled up in one big dump. But upon looking closely, it seems that my expensive clothes, my expensive accessories, the TV, the huge fridge, and so on, weren't taken out as a garbage.
Oh, what a great timing. You live here, right? Well, the cost of this move is...
Huh? And then the mover who was there talked to me and charged me a fee for something I couldn't really understand what was going on. Once I listened to what the mover was saying, I found out that Pam was the one who had hired him. What is she trying to do? Was Pam in my house right now? I tried to go inside, but for some reason, the front door would not open. Don't tell me that Pam has even changed the locks already. Maybe Pam had somehow gotten my house key when I was just being too busy with Ken's funeral. I immediately called Pam. What is the meaning of this, Pam? How dare you come into my house without any permission and throw out my stuff without even asking me? What's so wrong of me for taking my own son's stuff? You're not a family anymore, so get out. I beg your pardon? Ken is not here anymore, so you're not a family anymore. Get out before I report you for trespassing. Saying that, Pam just hung up the phone on me. How selfish and messed up she is. I really have to get my house back somehow. But my son began to cry and I couldn't stay out there forever, so I thought that I better go to a hotel or my parents' house. I asked the movers to move my belongings to a storage for the time being, and I left for now. And a week later, I received a phone call from Pam who sounded really upset. Hey, the police came over here and it looks like they're trying to make me leave the house. Please do something about it. How could she even say such a thing after she was the one who kicked me out? Pam was being too selfish. Even if you say so, I am not your family anymore, since I've gone through post-mortem divorce settlement. What? Post-mortem divorce? Yes, it's a procedure to terminate the relationship between myself and the relatives of my deceased husband. What? Since I am still Ken's spouse, I will inherit the house. But I have cut ties with you, and I have no obligation to have you living in my house, nor do I owe you any support. Huh? You know that I literally have nothing, and yet you're kicking me out? Yes, I did so as you wish, since I'm not your family anymore. But I took care of the baby. You're so ungrateful, and you're just really so cold and strict. Pam didn't sound like she realized what she was doing was wrong, but instead, she got angry. It's not like she didn't take care of my son much. So I really don't owe her anything. Well, this is the reaction I expected from her, though. If you say that, then I have no choice. You can live there if you want. Oh, really? You said that I can, right? I can really continue to live here, right? Yes, but instead, please pay the mortgage for the house as a one installment. Excuse me? You don't really have to pay the mortgage, which has already been paid for up until now. You only need to pay for the remaining mortgage. You should know, though, that it's a lot. What the? How could I possibly pay the mortgage on a house that has only been built for 3 years and for one installment? Well, if you can't then, the house there is mine, and you, who is not my family, should be reported for breaking and entering my house. I told her so and hung up the phone. By the way, since we had insurance, I didn't have to pay for the mortgage anymore when my husband passed away, but I don't really have to tell Pam about that. A few days later, I finally got back into our house. But it was a mess. The furnitures were damaged, and my clothes were all messy too. I took photos of each and every one of them and documented them, along with how much it all costed when I was kicked out of the house from Pam a few days ago. But even if I file a claim, there's a good chance that it'll be overlooked because Pam definitely would not be able to pay back all the money. But if Pam does anything to me in the future, I will be able to use this to make her shut up. She then contacted me asking me to pay her $1,000 fine for trespassing, but of course, I ignored it. Can't she see that I am the victim here, and that there is no way in hell that I would pay that for her? And 3 years later. In the end, Pam was not able to pay the fines, and was found guilty for being malicious, and she was imprisoned for 3 years. Pam, who had completed the 3 years, contacted me. Please, I'm really in trouble. I really don't have a place to go home, and I don't know what to do. She seemed to be using a payphone, probably getting money from random people to make calls, since it would hang up a few times while she was talking. In the end, it seems that what she is trying to say is that she has no home to go back to. The apartment my husband rented for her previously to make her leave has, of course, been terminated already. And the family home Ken and I built has already been sold, as I was afraid of Pam coming back. Well, this is what you deserve, Pam, and I have nothing to do with you anymore. So please stop bothering me and just live your life on your own, please. What? I told her so and hung up the phone on her. Then I set up the phone so that Pam would not contact me. So that was it for Pam, who has no will to live her own life on her own. I will make sure to raise my own son so well that he could live strongly all on his own. Thinking this, I laid my hands on Ken's photo with my son. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video.